Hey, it's Ebony of Cafe Mocha. And of course, we're speaking to the amazing trailblazing women that have done amazing things by the Living Legends Foundation, of course, doing great things in their journey. One person in particular that I'm just getting flabbergasted by is the amazing DeDe McGuire. Oh my
Aw,
gosh.
you're so kind. You are so kind. We've been already chopping it up off the air, and you're really, really kind. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Well, it's difficult because when I tell you, you have definitely made a pathway for people to be in this industry. You really have. So many people created locked doors and gates, but you're the one that's like, no, this is a stone for all of us to step through and step across, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I tell people the story about my husband. There was one point when it was really difficult for me. I was doing an afternoon show with Doug Banks, and I was doing K104 in the morning. And they had given me the show. They hadn't given it my name yet, but they had given me the show. And I didn't want to get up one morning because it was just difficult. It was hard for me to take control of that room, as the female because I was
Hmm.
the co-host, right? So now you're stepping in from being a co-host, not only just female, but being the co-host to the lead. And now you're a female and you got all these guys. And I remember having to deal, and I kept getting a lot of pushback sometimes from management. There were times they didn't even realize they were doing that. And I remember saying to the husband, I'm not going. And he said, you got to go. He said, you
Mm.
got to go. And I would go, I can't, I can't do this. And I remember laying in bed, like, because every morning doing mornings and getting up at 3:30 a.m., you go, is this today I'm going to quit and say, forget it? And I remember him telling me, no, it's bigger than you. He kept saying, it's bigger
Mm.
than you. This is about other women. And I said, you're right. And so I give him a lot of credit because he really did encourage me to get up out of the bed
It's
and go.
hard. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, being a female in this industry, I personally have always felt, and I know you have too, it's a very male dominated
Mm-hmm.
space. So how do women feel seen and heard when every day they have to fit a challenge or conquer through something to be seen or heard?
You just
It's
get in the
hard.
middle of the hallway like I do and scream.
Take note of that.
Um, no, but can I tell you something? You quietly make your moves. You quietly stand up and pick and choose when that moment is. And I think that's what our big issue is. We're passionate creatures, women. And I think that I'm sorry, I was running in to make it here. I'm going, oh my God, and it's hot upstairs at my house. I didn't have the air on.
You're good. You look
Huh.
beautiful. You look beautiful.
No, I'm going, oh my God. I mean, when I literally tell you I ran in here 10 minutes before the interview because I was like, got stuck in traffic. Um, no, but I think that as women, we're emotional creatures, right? And I think that we want to go to bat for everything and everybody, and we're rah rah, right? I think
Mhm.
for me, I had to pick and choose my battles, and I had to pick and choose when it was time for me to stand up and say something. Yeah.
Mm. But
So
you see, like you said, being emotional, people would tell us, like I hear this all the time, that is your fault. That is your demise, being an emotional person. Do you agree with that?
I don't think it's my demise. I think it's a superpower that we need to be careful of when we want to pull it out and when we don't. I think it's a
Mm.
beautiful thing to have empathy and sympathy for other people and want to see change and to be fair. I think that's a great trait. I just think that for us, we just have to again pick and choose when we want to bring that out and when we want to apply it. Right.
You know what? If you don't give me that book, I need a DeDe McGuire book like
Oh,
today. I mean, I don't know how fast you can write and type, but I'm gonna need you to go ahead and send me my book.
but you get what I'm saying though,
I
right? Because we
do.
do. We will pick and choose. I mean, we will everything it matters to us. And I just think that, yeah, for me, I knew if it didn't advance where I was trying to take the show or I'm trying to take my career, there was no need for me to spend too much time on it. Right.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is just small minutia in the midst of what we're doing, and it doesn't matter in the long run. But if
Mm.
I always tell people, if you figure out where you're going, if you have a goal and this is where my goal is, like if somebody told you and I to get to LA, right? We had to be to LA by Saturday. You would pick however which way you want to get there. But if they said be there in LA on Saturday by 10 a.m., it's up to either one of us how we're going to get there, right? You have
Right,
your way,
right.
I have mine. Either way it goes, that's the goal. And then what happens is things fall to the wayside as you look at your goal. You'll go, it's easy to say this doesn't serve me well, this doesn't matter, this doesn't matter. You got
Mm.
to pay attention to that. And then somebody else told me this. Let me tell you what always matter. Whatever pays you the most money in your life, whatever is paying you the most money in that moment, that should always matter. Like, I always tell people, they will say to me, how do you know what to tackle every day? What's important? And somebody told me, this friend of mine who's very successful female, She said to me, every day you should have 3 things that you need to do, right? 3 things. And she said, the main 3 things, you can have 5 or 10, but the top 3 things you should do every day. And one of them should be the one thing that makes you the most money in your life. Right. And I always tell people, like, I have a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm doing, I've had to trademark different things. We have the podcast. We have other things that I'm working on, going through contract negotiation, doing all of this stuff. Right. I have a PR person now that has to help me do stuff. And she's like, hey, you got to go do this. And you've got to go. You got an appearance here. And I'll say to her, you don't hear me because, or you won't hear from me because I'm attacking what matters the most, my radio job that pays me the most money right now. Some of these appearances can hold. This job can't.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like,
that's
no.
understandable. That's understandable. So let's go to the beginning of your journey. I want to know what even started this passion and drive and vision for media.
I'm sorry, I'm doing 2 things at once. Let me tell you why. I have a stylist here with me, my friend who's helping me, and I got to send her somewhere. And I'm trying to make sure that she gets the hold on a second. Yep, there it is. Is it 1900 Knightsbridge? There we go. Hold on, I'm getting her a car. Hold on, EJ, I got you. I'm getting you a car. Okay. And here we go. Choose comfort. Comfort. Here it is. Confirm pickup. I'm sorry. And there it is. What? In the middle of the interview, I did this? She just said that. Yeah, I know. Huh? Well, because we're friends and she understands and everybody has to understand. Can I be honest? She's like, how could you what are you doing? And I said, well, we're friends and here, you take it. And this is what happens. People need to know what happens in my life, that it gets crazy like this. It gets crazy like this. No, really, she's my stylist. I had to listen to this. Can you believe this? I had to get a stylist because I'm out so much. And after a while, I don't have time to go put stuff together, or I'm this or I'm and so I have somebody who helps me. Can you believe this? This is so crazy, but go ahead.
I think you should always have a stylist. I'm sitting over here like, that's a great thing. Why not?
Well, I like clothes and I like fashion and I can really do it. The problem is that I'm married. Sometimes I got to cook dinner. I have to clean the house. I don't have a cleaning lady or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like real life comes in and you go, that's the one thing about being a woman on the radio. People don't, and imagine if you're a woman with kids and a husgend.
Oh, yeah.
And radio doesn't have a set schedule, right? So it's always, and that's what I'm like every day. I've not had a set schedule yet. And I'm trying to figure out how I can.
It's a push and pull situation.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a push and pull. But what's so hard about it even more is that everybody seems to be pulling more than pushing.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to pull you this way and that way. And you're like, can somebody help drive the bus? Can you give it some gasoline at some point?
And that's where I had to get help now. I didn't realize, like, it's funny, everybody dreams of doing this and being syndicated, right? And we're now on in 80-something cities. So imagine, visiting a lot of those stations. Like this summer, at one point, I was 5 weeks in a row on the weekend, not home. 5 weekends in a row, I was out. I was, you know what I mean? Like at one point I was in Milwaukee one weekend. The next weekend I was in New Haven. The next weekend after that, I was in Tyler, Longview, Marshall, Texas. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And people don't realize, because in the summer months, everybody's doing stuff outside, all the stations, and you want to see your morning show. And so people don't realize. So I'm always running around, especially from the months from May till October, real busy.
Yeah. But I think people get so tied up or caught up in the celebrity of it all, not realizing that there's a lot of hard work and grunt that actually is attached to it.
Trust me. I didn't know it. I didn't know. I worked with Doug Banks for years when I first got started in my career, and I worked across the hall from Tom Joyner. You see them and you want it, but you didn't realize, I don't think any of us realize how much work goes into it as well. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's fun.
It's fun. No, I see the fun. I celebrate it. I mean, I wish I can go on and tell you my little story. And when I tell you,
tell me.
It's hard. It's just so much. I swear, we need to do cocktails. Okay, this is
because I'm like
just the cocktails.
Because can I tell you something? We have so many overcomers in this business that we're in. In the business that we're in, it's a lot of us. And I love that about it. I think that's what I love about radio. I think we all, and we see each other's family. It's still family no matter what. And I don't think people understand how cathartic, is that the word to use? When we're on the air and we're talking about things, it's really helping us too. Have you ever noticed that? That's
Oh
the
yes,
beauty.
therapy.
It's
That's what my
therapy.
interviews are. When I tell people that, oh, this is gonna be for the listeners. No, 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 no. This is
It's
for me. This is for me. Love them, but I need this moment to to get some understanding. But you're absolutely right, and I think that that's why I get so excited when I speak to people like you, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, someone that's lived the journey, that knows the lifestyle, understands what I've been through, but also got that light at the end of the tunnel. You know, like you and Jasmine Sanders. I literally cried. Oh my
I love her. Is she not great? I love her voice.
her
I am
voice,
such a
her
fan of
energy.
her. She's so beautiful, fun, funky. You know, I follow her
Man,
online. I just love her. I love Jasmine. So just
yeah.
so you know, I'm like you, and I always say that, like, oh, she's so great. And that voice, that
Yes,
voice.
it's iconic. Yes. And
Okay.
here I am saying the same thing to you.
Oh,
That voice, that presence, that style, the being that you are.
not like that damn Jasmine Sanders. I love her. Now we're friends. You can tell we're like, right, when we're
Yeah,
all
yeah,
friends in this, we're rooting for each other. No competition whatsoever.
and I not to get too deep in my story, and I feel like you can probably see it in my face. I thank you for showing that. I really do. A lot of people don't get that opportunity to see that, and a
Right.
lot of people
Thank you.
get pushed to the side and not able to see the good side of how this works. So
Yeah.
thank you for showing that there
No,
is
no.
a good side.
There is. There is. Trust and believe me, there is. We're blessed. I always say that all the time. I tell the show that I'm on, I say, we're very blessed, y'all. We are.
Yeah, yeah. When you work with a team that's family, that's able to get along in a way where we all want to push for each other to thrive and succeed for the betterment of all,
Right.
that's a blessing. So
Yep.
I just anyways. All right, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So let's get into it. We're gonna be all right. Take two.
Yep.
Let's do it. Uh tell me your passion and your drive for this industry. Where did it all come from?
My mother was a singer when I was a kid, and we grew up in Seattle, and she, you have the legendary Jimi Hendrix from Seattle, and my mother
Mm,
was, she knew him, and she loved singing, and so she did that, and she had a friend who was on the radio when I was a kid in Seattle, and he would call my mother to do voices and things like that. So we fell in love with radio back then when I was a kid, because my mom would do different voices. She was very talented.
to do the different
And
characters and stuff.
yeah, she could do care. He would use her all the time on the show. So that's probably where the love came from for radio. And then my brothers and sisters, my brother just remembered this story. I don't know if he's going to even say it on the at the Living Legends, but my brother, he talked about when we were kids, we would get the paper and we would read the newspaper as if we were news anchors, and we would compete with each other. I'm the youngest of five, so
Oh goodness, no.
yeah, five of us would go around the table, or we would read the back of our cereal out loud to each other, see who could do it better to sound like an announcer, right? Because
Yeah,
I had five brothers and sisters, and well, the four of there's five of us total. My four brothers and sisters, they were all in radio. At one point, my sister was doing radio sales. My other sister, Teresa, was doing radio in Connecticut. My other
okay.
brother, Michael McGuire, is a program director, and he was in Tampa for like 7, 8 years, and then he was in, where was he? South Carolina. I had another brother who worked for Radio Disney, and he did some
Oh my
work for
gosh.
Radio Disney ABC network, and then he went to do some work with Urban One. Yeah, so all of
So
us were.
radio is in your blood. It's
Yeah.
in everybody. Everybody got this.
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy. So do y'all ever talk to each other about like advice, encouragement, or whatever? Do y'all talk about the inner works of the industry?
Yes, I call my brother Michael McGuire, who's a program director, all the time. I have always valued his judgment. Always. I
Mm,
value his judgment. I value my former producer, Gary Saunders. Sheila Eldridge, who that lady is amazing. You talk about,
yeah.
like, as we talk about women in the
Mm.
business, that's a woman who never stops, doesn't quit, is a visionary, a doer, and that's some inspiration for me. But yeah, I would have to say a lot of folks. I get inspiration and things from a lot of people.
So, having a family that was always doing something in a media type of way, was there someone outside of the family that you were inspired by, that you saw a reflection of you in?
Yes, Tom
Who was that?
Joyner.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I give him love and praise all day, every day to everybody, him and the man I work with, Doug Banks. When I tell you I got a chance to learn radio from two of the best in urban radio ever, like you hear that, right? That's why I have to tell people sometimes. You have to understand what who I was mentored by without them even knowing they were mentoring me, right? Tom Joyner never knew that every day when I drove up, he worked from across the hall. Him, Sybil Wilkes, everybody, they worked across the hall from us at ABC Radio Network for a time. And I remember watching Tom Joyner walk in. Like I'd watch what he drove, what he carried in, what books he read, you know what I mean? Like I watched
Yeah.
Doug Banks. I worked with him. He taught me how to keep the room light. I love an environment where, I want the staff that I have right now, the crew, I shouldn't say staff, and my team would be, Jay Cruz, Trey G, and comedian JJ Williamson. What I really love is that I wanted to keep the room light, fun. I wanted them to know they can make mistakes. And if they make mistakes, we have fun with it. No one can ever feel embarrassed by anything because we'll make it a joke. And I learned that from Doug Banks, how to just keep going when that mic is on and turn a mistake into a joke or turn it into the fact that we're human. And that's the thing is about morning radio that I love. We get to be human.
That's the thing I think a lot of people lack understanding is that we all are just human.
Yeah.
We're going to make mistakes. There is going to be a moment where it's going to be, oops, I'm sorry. But how do we celebrate it versus make someone feel, attacked by it? Does that make sense?
And I'm okay with we turn a mistake. I'll even say it on the, okay, everybody, this was a mistake. We did a break the other day and comedian JJ Williamson was doing some kind of a break about names and it was going nowhere, right, on the air. And guess what I said? I said, is this done? When are you going to be done? Please tell me I kept going, please tell me you're done. Please tell me. And so all of a sudden I put a siren on and I just said to everyone listening, I want you to know, like I do, we just lost 3 minutes of brain cells listening to this, right? I mean, so you get my point, even though he didn't run it by me and it was so horrible, the delivery, and we ended up all having fun with it because the honesty, right? Look at that. The honesty was, hey, everybody, we don't ever get it right here all the time. This is a horrible break. And I said, okay, let's get out of this break now. And we did it live. And there you go.
And so you made it to a very hilarious moment because that's funny.
And that's what I learned, good. Right? This was learned from working with one of the greats, Doug Banks.
So tell me, what's another, is there like a book, or can you talk about books about Tom Joyner? What is a book or a piece of advice that they gave you outside of keeping it light? Or what was one of those books that Tom Joyner was able to read and you was like, okay, I got to take note of that?
I'll tell you what the funniest part about him was this. I was walking in one day, I was in a book club. And the book we were reading was called The Black Rose. And it was done by some Dew. It was Madam C.J. Walker's granddaughter did this book called The Black Rose. And I was reading it for our book club and I'm walking in and I had it in my hand and he and I used to try to time when I got into work when he was going into work just so I could say hi, right? I mean, like you hear this. And so anyway, I'm walking in and he sees the book and he goes, oh, I want to read that. And I said, you would read, I'm looking at the book, like, cause it's from my book club, right? Of all women. And I go, you would read this? And he goes, yeah, it's about Madam C.J. Walker, isn't it? And I go, yeah. And he said, and it's about her, the first Black millionaire, right? I said, yeah, female. And I said, yep. And he goes, yes, I would read it. And I go, why would you want to read it? And he goes, you want to be rich, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, then read books about how somebody got rich. He said he liked to read different people's, what is that? I never get it right. Biography, autobiography. Which one is biography? Biography. Thank you. Biography. Anyway, so he said that. He goes, you want to get rich? Read about how rich people. He said he liked reading those kind of books. And ever since then, I was like, And I read as many books as I can on money and finances and goals. And yeah.
I never thought about that. If there's a particular thing that you want in life, read up on it. It's the same as speaking it into existence, right?
Yep. And I believe in that. I'm a big, firm believer in that. Speaking things over your life, speaking it into existence, manifestation, visualizing. Like I remember The Secret changed my life. That book, that video changed my life, The Secret. And another book that I love is called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. I tell everybody to read that. It's great.
What is that one about? I haven't heard about that one.
This one here, I'll just say this. The first page on the book says life basically is a boomerang. Whatever you put out is what you're going to get back in return.
Mm.
Life, there's something
That's
called the
true.
imaging faculty. Whatever you see, or whatever, it gives a story of a little girl growing up saying, "Hey, mommy," and she would always put this veil over her head as a child. "Look, mommy, I'm a widow," and she grew up to be a widow, right? And they were saying
Yeah,
that the
yeah, yeah.
subconscious mind has no not I won't say it doesn't have a personality, but it doesn't take jokes well. Your subconscious, and so it tells you a little
Yeah.
bit about your conscious mind, subconscious mind, the imaging faculty, speaking it into existence, visualizing. That's what that book is. It's similar to The Secret. Yeah.
You know what? I gotta read it. It's like there's a phrase we always say it, or when you hear people say it, "I'm broke," and I always tell people, "Don't say that phrase around me. That doesn't describe my ministry."
Me
I
either.
said, "Mm-mm."
You want to
I
hear
bel
another one I said when I
What's
had
up?
people, everybody like, don't, I want to get my coins. I'm making my coin. I want coin. I used to say to everybody, you can take coins if you want to. I want dollars. I want dollars. I want paper. I need money. I need digital money. I need currency. I'm not making coins. I'm making big money.
Yes, amen.
See,
Big
so I'm with
money.
you. I'm with you.
Yes.
Words have power. We got to be careful how we speak them.
It does, and I think that people don't realize that. I would tell people on a spiritual level, if you believe in a God that replenishes and restores, why do you think that He's going to leave you in a state that you don't want to be in? I'm
Right.
confused.
Come on.
Why claim it? Why claim it? So, if I believe in a God that's going to restore, replenish my soul, give me all the things that I need, not want what I need, then I'm going to go ahead and speak life into what I have because that's what's needed. So,
Wait a minute. Haven't you heard? It's in the Bible about, ask and it is given,
amen.
right?
Right,
Isn't
right,
it?
right.
I
All
mean,
right. All right.
and
All
this is
right.
the other part. Then we want to sit up there and ask, and this is the other one. This is The Secret taught me how to be more specific with your goals and intention, right? Because I always say this to women. I always tell people before I got married, I really did have a list. I really am one of those girls who had a list of what I wanted in my man, right? And one day, after crying and cussing God out about my life one time, really, and he's so forgiving and understands me. I think he laughed like you did when I was trying to cuss him out. And it hit me to put all the things that I wanted, because it hit me that when I was having problems meeting men or breaking up with men or dating, we didn't have a problem with what kind of car he drove. We didn't have a problem with
Mm,
how tall he was. We didn't have any of those problems. You know what we had problems with?
mm,
His honesty, integrity, faithfulness, and all of
mm.
those things, right? So I wrote it down, put it in my Bible, and I told people this all the time. I said, there's two things I learned from The Secret. One is this: people always tell you what they don't want. Who just said happy birthday to me?
I don't know.
Who the hell just said happy birthday? Okay. But anyways, people will tell you what they don't want, right? Everybody can tell you
Mhm,
all day, well, I don't want a man like this, or I don't want a job like this, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want
mhm,
this, and I don't want a house that has this, and I don't, right? Listen, and I don't want a car. But you'll ask somebody, what do you want? And they'll go, uh,
mm.
I think I want that, but I know I don't want. And I'll go, I asked that. I asked, what do you want? And it's very hard for people to do. And so I also tell people this: when you're talking about asking and it is given, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
this, if you say, I want a good man, your definition of a good man is different from mine.
Come
So
on.
maybe we need to be a little bit more descriptive when we start asking God for certain things and write it out. I tell people all the time, I know what I want for my career. I know what the next steps are. I know the next 5 years what I'm going to do, what I want to do. And then another 5 years, I know what that's going to be. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very clear. And the reason why I'm clear is because I've had to figure out, what is it I do want? And I'm like you, paid attention to the words over my, they'll say stuff in the studio, go, don't speak that over my
Don't
life.
speak that over me. Yeah,
Let's
don't do
stop that
that.
right now.
And I love that you say it defines, it's how you define it, like success. We all have a different definition of what success is, what fame is. We all have that different definition, and it's not going to work in the same thought process as you do. I love how when you move your hand, sometimes emojis pop up. I don't know, but it's
I don't
making my
know how
day.
it's happening. Is somebody in on this call with us?
No, it's just me and you. It's just I think God is
Okay.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
celebrate
okay.
it.